All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we are unpacking the absolute masterclass on habit formation, James Clear's groundbreaking book, Atomic Habits. If you really want to understand the exact mechanics of why we do the things we do, and more importantly, how to permanently upgrade your life through the aggregation of marginal gains, you are in the exact right place. We're going to jump right in and break down the core philosophy of how tiny, seemingly insignificant changes actually yield remarkable results. Okay, let's dive into this immediately because this powerful idea completely dismantles our traditional obsession with goal setting. Society constantly conditions us to focus entirely on the finish line, but this concept, it forces us to look at the treadmill itself. Your system is your daily reality, and if there's a gap between your massive goals and your daily systems, well, your daily system is going to win every single time.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover 1. The power of atomic habits. 2. Systems over goals. 3. Identity-based habits. 4. The 4-step habit loop. And finally, 5. The laws of behavior change. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The power of atomic habits. Building blocks of change.
Think of habits as the compound interest of self-improvement. Getting just 1% better every single day might not seem like much tomorrow, but it counts for a massive amount in the long run. An atomic habit isn't just any random small habit. It's a fundamental building block of a much larger system. Just like atoms form molecules, these tiny habits fuel your biggest wins. That 1% daily gain aggregates into massive, life-altering change. But remember, the most powerful outcomes of any compounding process are delayed, which is exactly why patience and consistency are absolutely your greatest assets here.
Moving right along to Section 2, Systems over Goals. Focus on the process.
So the crucial point we need to grasp is that winners and losers actually share the exact same goals. Every single Olympian wants the gold medal, right? Every candidate interviewing wants the job. So if both the successful and unsuccessful people share the exact same objective, the goal itself literally cannot be what differentiates them. It is the system that dictates the victor. If you completely ignored your goals right now and focused only on your daily system, you'd still succeed because the score ultimately just takes care of itself.
And this brings us to a huge psychological trap. When you operate with a goals-first mentality, you're constantly restricting your happiness to this either-or scenario. Either you achieve the goal and you're a success, or you fail and you're a disappointment. Plus, goals really just create a temporary yo-yo effect. Think about it. You clean your messy room once, but if you don't actually change the sloppy system that caused the mess in the first place, it's just going to get messy again. But when you fall in love with the system, the actual process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. You can be completely satisfied anytime your system is running. Section 3. Identity-based habits. Who you wish to become.
Now, outcome-based habits focus outward on what you want to achieve, but true, lasting change, that comes from the inside out. Identity-based habits focus entirely on who you wish to become. Ultimately, your behaviors are just a reflection of your current identity. What you do on a daily basis is simply an indication of the type of person you subconsciously believe that you are.
Just look at the difference in this mindset. Imagine two people trying to resist a cigarette. The first person says, "Oh, no thanks, I'm trying to quit." That means they still firmly believe they are a smoker who's just trying to act differently. But the second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Wow, that is a massive identity shift. True behavior change is identity change because you're simply acting like the person you already believe you are. The ultimate goal isn't to read a book, it is to become a reader.
Let's look under the hood in Section 4, the 4-step habit loop, the science of habits. So every single habit you have breaks down into this fundamental 4-step sequence. First up is the cue. That's the trigger that prompts your brain to initiate a behavior. Second is the craving, which is the actual motivational force or desire behind the habit. Third is the response, meaning the actual habit or action you perform. And finally, the reward, the end goal that perfectly satisfies your craving. This flow moves seamlessly from the problem phase, where you notice something needs to change, straight to the solution phase, where you take action and get that sweet reward. And what is truly fascinating about this mechanism is how it forms an endless cycle. It's not just a one-off event that happens once a day. This is a continuous neurological feedback loop. Cue, craving, response, reward that is running every single moment you are alive. Your brain is constantly predicting what's going to happen next and figuring out the most effortless way to navigate your environment. which leads us perfectly into Section 5, Laws of Behavior Change, Designing Good Habits. Feel free to grab a screenshot of this one, guys. This breakdown is literally your ultimate cheat sheet for rewiring any behavior in your entire life. To build a good habit, you make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. And if you want to break a bad habit, you just invert them. You make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Let's quickly break these 4 laws down.
The first law targets the cue, make it obvious. Here's the secret: environment design. Your environment matters way more than your motivation ever will, because every habit is totally context dependent. If you want to drink more water, fill up a bunch of bottles and place them everywhere around your house. If you want to play more guitar, for the love of God, don't hide it in the closet. Put it right in the middle of your living room on a nice stand. Alter the spaces where you live and work so you become the architect of your environment rather than just a victim of it.
Now, the second law targets the craving. Make it attractive. Habits are essentially a dopamine-driven feedback loop. It's actually the anticipation of a reward that gets us to take action. And we can hack this anticipation by using a neat trick called temptation bundling. Basically, you pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. Think of the engineering student who literally programmed his Netflix so it would only play if he was pedaling his stationary bike fast enough. Pure genius, right? He bundled his desire for entertainment directly with his need for exercise.
The third law targets the response. Make it easy. Listen, motivation is severely overrated because our human brains are naturally wired to conserve energy. We will always gravitate toward the option that requires the absolute least amount of work. So your job is to reduce friction. Make doing the right thing the easiest option available. A fantastic trick here is the 2-minute rule. Scale down any new habit so it takes less than 2 minutes to do. Just show up and start. You can also use commitment devices, like literally leaving your credit cards at home so you physically cannot buy junk food. That locks in future behavior, making the right choice absolutely inevitable. Finally, the fourth law targets the reward. Make it satisfying. Now, while we know identity sustains a habit in the long term, getting immediate reinforcement is absolutely crucial in the short term to successfully close that habit loop. The rule is simple. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. Try using a habit tracker, like simply putting a big red X on a wall calendar. It serves as a highly satisfying visual measure of your daily success. And eventually, as you gather more and more of this visual evidence, your new identity takes over and becomes the ultimate reinforcer.
So consider the paradox of the coin. One single coin doesn't make you rich, right? But if you add another and another and another, stack enough of them together, and literally everything changes. That is the true power of atomic habits. It's just a bunch of small, fundamental units stacking up to completely transform the trajectory of your life. So how will you design your system today? By the way, if you want to take all of this to the next level, definitely DM us on Instagram for a premium, full summary, deep dive analysis, and exclusive quotes from Atomic Habits priced at just INR 29. The link to our Insta is right down in the description. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.